Hi, this is Scott Garibay, and today we're going to talk about American politics, and we're going to talk about the hetero LGBTQ divide in America, and what we could do about it, and how the architecture on the ground has massively changed. It's so different now, and we're going to talk about that through Agatha All Along. Spoilers for all of season 1 of Agatha All Along. All right, so I'm on episode 8 of the 9 episodes of Agatha All Along, and I was blown away by essentially a Nostradamus statement coming true in front of my eyes, right? And just the power of it, and exactly what it means for American culture overall. Okay, all right. So first of all, we're going to discuss hetero people and LGBTQ people. Let me and I'm an evangelical Christian, so let me make it super clear what I think about this. So I'm an American. So first of all, I read the Bible, and evangelicals have struggled for a long time to have peace between hetero people and LGBTQ people. And I think the biggest problem that's been on the evangelical Christian side is we have a special box for LGBTQ, and I don't prescribe to that. I think it's terrible, and I think it's really bad. So a lot of churches, this is just my take. If you go to an evangelical church, they're like, "Hey, are you hooked on heroin? We got a little class for you downstairs. Come on Wednesday. We got coffee for you. Hey, do you beat your wife? Hey, we got a class for that. Come on down. You can have donuts with us on Wednesday. Hey, are you drunk? Hey, come on over on Thursday night. We got a special recovery class for that. You get donuts, and man, oh man, we can't wait to see you there. Are you LGBTQ? No. We're really not happy you're here. What's going on? I'm confused. You can't do these ministries. What's happening?" So for a long time, evangelical Christians have had this special box for LGBTQ, right? And it's wrong, right? Like, all people are equal, and Jesus loves all LGBTQ, and Jesus loves all hetero people, right? So I don't really prescribe to what many, not all, evangelicals believe about LGBTQ. I believe that Jesus loves LGBTQ, Jesus loves hetero. We're all people, and we should have equal rights, right? And I don't think that any rights that any hetero person has shouldn't be had by an LGBTQ under American law, right? And by the way, American law is separate than, what's prescribed in the Bible, right? So there's a little bit of a dance there too, where evangelicals are like, hey, we gotta, we have two things we gotta accomplish, right? We need to be Americans, and we need to have sound leadership, and we need to give everybody equal rights. At the same time, the Bible, has prescribes our interaction between all people, right? Okay, so this gets interesting. So when Agatha All Along came on, now first of all, Agatha All Along has been an incredible journey for me. I've really, really, really liked it, right? I'm a huge fan of Catherine Hahn. I'm a huge fan of Aubrey Plaza. This Joe Lack guy is brand new to me. I've never seen him in anything. Patti LuPone, huge talent. This thing is just jam-packed from the floor to the rafters with amazing talent, right? And I'm excited to see Wanda Maximoff's story continuing, right? Because here's her son, Billy, right? But it was interesting, and Grace Randolph, and get this, like, it's a special program because I watch it like on Thursday, and on Friday I listen to Grace's complete breakdown, right? So it's really a special show because it's not just, the thing isn't the thing is everything, right? So what's really fascinating to me, right, is this, so where do we land with this? This is really, really fascinating. So at the beginning, Grace Randolph covered, I think it was Entertainment Magazine, or it might have been Variety. It was one of the major trades, right? And they're like, "Oh my gosh, Aubrey, it looks like this show is going to be super gay," right? And she's like, "Yes." And they're like, "A gay explosion." And she said, "Yeah, I think you could see a gay explosion in this show. It's super gay," right? Like, and Grace was like, not helping. The entertainment, the magazine, like the variety, you are not helping, right? And here's the reason why. So there's no question, for centuries, right? For centuries, America treated LGBTQ like a marginalized group, and they not treated, made LGBTQ a marginalized group. But now it's completely flipped. The LGBTQ have become a completely privileged group. And I think Agatha all along is the final receipt, right? Here's the receipt. Here's the date. Here's the cost. We can return these shoes, right? Here's the receipt. And the receipt is LGBTQ is not getting treated as a marginalized group. They're treated as a massively privileged group. And here's why. So Variety or Entertainment, whichever group asked the question, and Aubrey Plaza were 100% right? Like, at this point in the show, there's a gay explosion, right? Like, there's just every character on the show is super hyper gay, right? Every major character, every significant primary character on the show is incredibly gay, right? Like, and you cannot even notice. You can't tell if any character is hetero, right? And so one, I absolutely believe Agatha all along is a hetero closet, Yeah, it's absolutely a hetero closet show. If you don't know what hetero closet is, I have a definition for it. You can see that in the link below. And what's interesting is it's just, they're right. Like, and so basically, Wanda Maximoff is this major character. She's the Scarlet Witch, right? And literally millions of hetero people built up the MCU, right? And there were plenty of LGBTQ there, right? In fact, I think most LGBTQ were there, along with the hetero organization, along with the hetero community and the LGBTQ community. So then you arrive, and basically, this show is all LGBTQ all the time with heteros closeted, right? Now, what's fascinating about this is this show was desperately needed by the MCU to put up points and actually get the MCU rolling again. And people were super excited about it. But once you get into it, they're like, well, if you're a hetero, this show isn't for you. This isn't for you, right? And what I'm saying is, like, okay, Marvel really needed this show to progress forward. And the LGBTQ were like, well, that's nice, but we're 3% of the population. And so also that was that's the last count I've heard is that 3% of America is LGBTQ, right? Please correct, bring me whatever source you want, but I'm going with the 3%, right? So basically, Disney was like, hey, let's make 3% of the populace happy, and let's alienate and make very uncomfortable saying you are not allowed to see yourself in this story. There are no hetero heroes here. Marvel is no longer for the hetero community. There are billions of dollars here, right? And so, and they are allowed to make this choice, right? They're 100% allowed to make this choice. But when you see companies like essentially throwing away billions of dollars of equity to give a already privileged group more privilege, can we still continue to say that this is a marginalized group when at this point they're becoming far overrepresented? Like, there's no way 3% of Agatha all along, it is a gay explosion. You can't even find 3% of hetero in it. I truly believe if you look at the show, it is 99%. No. The one character who you could think was hetero, actually, there's a lot of clues that they're not, right? I don't think there's a single hetero character in Agatha all along. They have every right to do this, right? LGBTQ do not need to be ashamed of who they are, right? Or what they are, right? we all get to own our identity, or particularly on the secular side, right? So from an American secular perspective, they don't need to be ashamed in any way of who they are. But I do think we've reached a point where saying that, where we've reached a point where shows that hetero were really looking forward to, and companies are now saying, we're very comfortable giving you zero representation. And when we said everybody should be able to see themselves in art, we didn't mean you, right? And if you're hetero, you're disgusting and you really shouldn't be seen. And in Agatha all along, they are not seen. Like, you do not see a single representation of a single hetero person in the entire show. In the entire show. It's astounding, right? Like, and so I think that's where we land, right? We absolutely need to be inclusive. We need to make sure that LGBTQ never have to go back in the closet, right? We need to make sure that LGBTQ always have the same civil rights as everyone else, right? But we have to start having this. I believe we have 3 marginalized groups in America that are no longer marginalized. They're fully privileged, but we're still talking about them as though, and interacting with them as though they are marginalized groups. And we have groups that are being called privileged that are marginalized. And we need to find a space to talk about this, because I think if people don't talk about this, they may take the same actions that the last 2 people who took an attempt on Donald Trump have, right? And try to have the conversation without words. And we do not want that. We need to talk about this. It's risky, but I think we want conversation on this rather than actions which are not needed, right? Like the 2 that were attempted on President Donald Trump. Truly astounding where we've arrived. That extremely fraught subject, right? And I understand there's a lot here. If I am misunderstanding any of it, I'm ready to learn. Please let me know what you think. Every single word you just heard is my humble opinion. Nothing more, nothing less. The important part is when I get to hear your humble opinion, when you get in the comments and send your traffic. Please consider subscribing and have a fetch millennium.